Hi, in this video I'll help you get to know your car a little better. At the end of this video I've put together a straightforward infographic that summarizes all the key points. Like, subscribe and comment below, it really helps.
Hey, if you're a Dodge owner and you're staring down a check engine light with a code P012B on your scanner, then you are in exactly the right place. We're about to walk you through a super clear, step-by-step guide to figure this thing out and fix it for good. Ah, there it is. That little glowing symbol on your dashboard that always seems to pop up at the worst times, right? It's frustrating for sure. But hey, the good news is your scanner gave you a specific code, which means you're already halfway to a solution. P012B. That's our target. Over the next few minutes, we're going to completely demystify this code. We'll figure out what it means, and more importantly, how you can find the real root cause of the problem. So what in the world is P012B? Well, at its heart, it just means your car's main computer has spotted a problem with the circuit for the turbocharger or supercharger's inlet pressure sensor. You know, in plain English, a key sensor isn't talking correctly with the car's brain, and our job is to play detective and figure out why. To solve this little mystery, we're going to approach it just like detectives on a case. You see, there are 5 primary suspects that are usually behind this code, and we're going to check them out one by one in a very logical order. And here's our lineup. The first 3 suspects are all electrical circuits. You've got the power supply, the signal line, and the ground. Then we have the actual physical map sensor itself. And our final suspect, the one we only look at after everyone else is cleared, is the powertrain control module, or PCM. Think of this as our investigation plan. Now, what's awesome about this slide is it gives you the entire game plan at a glance. On the left, you see the potential causes, and right next to them, the solution. See the pattern? For the circuits, the fix is pretty much always to replace the bad one. Same goes for the components. This table is a great little cheat sheet to keep in your back pocket as we go. All right, let's dive in, starting with our electrical check. I want you to think of these circuits as the car's nervous system. If there's a problem here, the brain just can't get the right messages from its sensors. It's as simple as that. Our first and honestly most common suspect is an open in the 5 volts supply circuit. Seriously, this is always the very first place you should look. So what does this circuit even do? Well, it delivers the juice, the power that the sensor needs to wake up and do its job. If this power line is broken, what mechanics call an open circuit, then the sensor is totally dead in the water. It has no energy to take a reading, let alone send one back to the computer. Now, the fix is a really straightforward 2-step process. First, you'll grab a digital multimeter and measure the resistance. You're looking for a super low reading, usually under 5 ohms. If that number is way too high, bingo, you found your problem. Step 2 is easy, replace it. Okay, moving on to suspect number 2, the signal circuit. If the sensor is getting power, the next logical question is its message actually getting through? This circuit is like the dedicated phone line for the sensor's data to travel to the car's brain. If there's a break in the wire or some corrosion, the message just gets lost along the way. And guess what? The diagnostic process here is identical. Your multimeter is your best friend again. You're going to measure the resistance along that signal circuit. If it's too high, that's a roadblock stopping the signal. And the solution, you guessed it, is to replace that faulty circuit. Our final electrical suspect is the sensor ground circuit. Now, this is a really crucial, but often overlooked piece of the whole puzzle. Here's the key thing to remember about electricity. For it to work, it has to make a complete loop. The ground circuit is the return path for the current. A bad ground is like a dead end on a highway. Traffic just stops. And in this case, the sensor stops working. So we follow the same logical process. One last time for the wiring, we're going to do the exact same test. Measure the resistance. If it's sky high, the ground circuit is bad and you got to replace it. By methodically checking these 3 circuits first, you've already covered the most common causes of this code. So, if you've tested all 3 circuits and they're all checking out, that means the car's nervous system is in good shape. Now we can move on to the physical hardware, and we're going to start with the sensor itself. This brings us to suspect number 4, the component right at the heart of this P012B code, the inlet map sensor. Think of this sensor as one of your engine's most important senses. It's constantly measuring air pressure and feeding that information to the car's brain. This lets the brain make tiny, precise adjustments for the best possible power and fuel efficiency. To test the sensor, you're going to follow a pretty familiar process by now. Using your multimeter, you'll measure its internal resistance and check if it's within the numbers the manufacturer says it should be. If the readings are all out of whack, the sensor itself has failed. The fix is as simple as it gets: replace it. This leads us to our final and by far the least common suspect, the powertrain control module, or PCM. We saved this guy for last for a very, very good reason. The PCM is the central computer. It's literally the brain of your car. It takes in all that sensor data and makes thousands of decisions every single second. Because it's so complex and so expensive to replace, you should only even think about it being a suspect after every single other possibility has been crossed off the list. Okay, let's put all the pieces of this puzzle together. This slide sums up the most efficient way to diagnose this thing. You always start with the wiring, the supply, signal, and ground circuits. They're the most frequent culprits and the cheapest to fix. If they check out, then you test the sensor itself. Only after you've ruled all of that out should you even whisper the letters PCM. Following this order will save you time, money, and a whole lot of frustration. So we've laid out all the suspects and the entire investigation plan. You now have the complete roadmap to diagnose and fix this code correctly the first time. The only question left is, are you ready to go solve your P012B puzzle?